Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our show. We always bring you new people with new stories and from new countries. And today we have someone from Canada program, not just on Zoom.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, let's start then. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our show. We always bring you new people with new stories and from new countries. And today we have someone from Canada. Her name is Randy. So, Randy, welcome to our show.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Hmm. So, Randy, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Randy?
Who is Randy? Oh, I'm a complicated, strange one now. so,
Okay.
like you said, I'm from Canada. I'm in Ontario, pretty close to the border, which is great because concerts and stuff, when we're allowed to, they're much cheaper in Buffalo. So it's great. I can go over there pretty easily. I also have got two kids. My youngest is 15 and he's got autism. And I'm married 10 years this year. I don't know how I've put up with him for so long, but I have. And I have a grandson who's 2. I've got 4 kitty cats and 3 puppy dogs. Love animals. And I just like having fun.
You have the full package, the full package, let's say, right?
Yes, exactly. My kid keeps saying, "Let's get a bird." I'm like, no.
Okay. Uh, Tell us a little bit about your books. What do you write about?
Well, I like to follow. What I say is I follow my dopamine. So I like to write about what strikes me in that moment. So at this point, I've written 10 books. One of my favorite topics to write about is mental health. So I've dealt with depression since I was 14. My youngest also has been dealing with depression, anxiety most of his life. So I love sharing those stories to make sure that other people know that they're not alone. I've also written about being a parent of a kid with autism. Um, I've written a couple kids' books because they're just so much fun to do. And I've written a collection of short, scary stories because I love horror.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit the story of somebody, especially for a kid who is in depression? So,
Yeah. So my son first dealt with his depression when he was 9. That was his first suicide attempt. And as a parent, I was like, what? Like, how am I failing as a parent that you feel like you shouldn't be here anymore? Mind you, it had nothing to do with me at all. But as a parent, that's what I was thinking. So we would take him to the hospital. Um, and everybody always thinks Canada's healthcare system is like so fabulous. Our mental health system sucks. Um, it's not it's not taken seriously. And I mean, I think that's a problem around the world, but I can only speak from my experience here. So we would take him, and a lot of times they would just send us right back home. Sometimes they would admit him for a few days, and it was just this endless cycle of not knowing what to do or how to help him. So, through the many times that we've been back and forth at the hospital and everything, my best advice that I give to parents now is to be open with your own feelings because kids don't have the vocabulary to tell us when they're not feeling okay. They don't know anything different. When I was 14 and I first had my depressive episodes, I didn't understand that that wasn't right, that that wasn't normal because it was my normal. So, and my mom didn't talk to me about that kind of stuff. So I just kind of wallowed in my pity, I guess, thinking I should end my life. But meanwhile, there's help out there. There's coping strategies that we can learn. But unless we give the kids the correct language for them to use to tell us and ask for help, they're never going to. And then we can't teach them the right stuff.
so what are the symptoms that you see? Let's say some of the symptoms that shows that a kid or maybe an adult is
Yeah.
depressed. Let's say.
Yeah. So the symptoms, the signs really are pretty similar in kids and in adults. I think, anyways. I'm not a doctor. I just know a lot about it, and I have taken a lot of courses in psychology, but I'm not a doctor. But with change in behavior in their whole kind of demeanor, that's going to be your biggest one. So if you know the person really well, and all of a sudden their entire personality is completely different, that's a pretty big indication that something's going on. Other ones are people withdrawing from activities that they really like and just kind of going completely inward. If they're very, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of absent-minded, they just kind of float through life. They don't really care much about anything in particular. And then as it gets closer to somebody maybe deciding and creating a plan. So this is what I did at one point. I had made a plan of how I was going to end my life. And when you make that plan, it's going to sound weird to people who've never felt this, but it's freeing because all of a sudden you see this end to your pain. And so again, your entire demeanor switches, your entire personality switches because you're no longer hurting because you know that the pain is going to end because you're going to end it. So I think the biggest one is if you know the person really well and you notice a big shift in their personality, ask questions.
By the way, I'll ask you a question.
Yes.
What was the thing that made you to think to suicide?
It wasn't one thing. It was a culmination of many things. First off, those of us that have depression, it's a lot of times it's an imbalance of certain chemicals in our brain. So now that I'm on antidepressants, my brain is working correctly. It's getting the right hormones and chemicals that it needs to. So that's a really big help. But it was a culmination of like at 14, my brother had started getting into drugs. My mom was taking care of him so much, and I felt very neglected. My stepfather was an alcoholic. So there was a lot going on at the time at home. And I had no outlet. I had no one to talk to. I didn't have a way to express any of my feelings. And I always just sort of felt different. So all of that culminating on top of each other is really hard. And then as an adult, when my kid was having major meltdowns because he's got autism, and we didn't know it at the time, but he's having these major meltdowns. I'm being called to go pick him up from school. I'm being called at work. I have to leave. So I'm feeling like a horrible employee because I can't do my job. I'm feeling like a horrible mom because he's exploding and I don't know why. I can't help him. I'm feeling like a bad wife because everything in the house and everything in life is falling apart. So it's just a lot of that compounding factors all rolled into one all at the same time.
And let's say does depression helps in one sense, if we can use the word help, for people to be addicted in alcohol or in drugs? Is that an issue?
No. That is a major issue and it's really hard. So people, a lot of times if they are addicted to alcohol or drugs or even gambling, pornography, like there's a lot of different kinds of addiction. You don't wake up one day and go, it'd be great if I was a drug addict. I would just really enjoy my life if I was a drug addict. Because most people who are on drugs, now I'm not speaking from personal experience. I'm speaking from experience from working. I did my placement at a drug and alcohol recovery house, and I have some family members who are or were addicted to drugs. So that's where this story is coming from. But they're doing it as a coping strategies. So they're either depressed or anxious or dealing with something, and again, it's having an outlet for your emotions. Well, they weren't taught to have healthy coping strategies, or again, they weren't given the correct vocabulary to explain themselves. So instead, they go in and rely on drugs. They rely on alcohol because it's giving them a euphoric feeling, at least for a short period of time. Once that feeling goes away and they're right back down to feeling horrible, well, they have to go back to what made them feel good again. So they go back to the drugs, they go back to alcohol, and it's just this cycle of trying to feel better, but it's really a negative coping strategy. It's not a helpful one.
So, what about the, let's say, the most important thing, at least for me, the honesty, or as we say, the genuinity of people around you.
Oh, yeah. So the book that I released last year, actually, it's called Embracing Me. So that's not, um, I think it all starts with yourself. So you can surround yourself with honest people, but if you aren't being honest with yourself, it's not going to matter. So that book it's all about my journey with depression and what I've learned. And the biggest thing I've learned, the biggest strategy and coping thing, and what's helped me the most is learning to love myself for who I am. It's okay that I'm weird. I'm totally okay with that. But for a long time, I wasn't. For a long time, especially as a kid, right? Like I was talking about at 14 was the first time I really felt that way. Kids are mean when you're different. And so when people are looking at you like you're strange, like you're weird, or my mom used to tell me, "Oh, just fake it till you make it." I'm like, I don't know what that means. You want me to smile even though I'm not feeling it, or just just be good right now. Well, I wasn't being bad, but now I feel like I'm being bad because you're saying that.
Mhm.
So, feeling okay with who you are. That's why I called it embracing me. So, embracing yourself and embracing your weirdness, your quirkiness, your whatever, because there are people out there that are going to love that side of you. You don't have to get along with everybody. Not everybody has to be your friend. You have to be, polite with other people in the public. I'm not going to go around and, be slapping people in the face or something, but like, I don't have to be friends with them. I can be friends with 2 or 3 people, and that's fine.
So usually people are genuine when everything is gone. Let's say that they are very genuine to tell the true story, what happened, let's say, years ago. How do you find this one? Because at the moment, if you talk with them, maybe they don't tell you the truth. They're not genuine. But after a certain years, they tell it as a story that this is what happened.
Yeah, yeah. It's
let's
almost
sorry,
like
let's say
a
that the truth comes. Actually, the truth always comes later. First lies come, or if we can say lie, I mean, it's like the
yeah,
story
yeah.
something else, and then after a while, then the truth comes, and it's like the light that comes after the dark part.
Yeah, yeah. You're making me think of like deathbed confessions,
Okay,
right?
no,
So when
no.
there's it's what that's where my brain went when you were saying that was deathbed confessions, like because there's nothing else to lose. Um, with that, I mean, I think that some people, because they're not honest with themselves first,
Mhm.
they can't be honest with anybody else. They're trying to put on this persona. And so, in order to maintain that, they have to lie until it comes to the point that they either don't care what other people think of them,
Exactly.
so they start telling the truth, or they finally accept themselves for who they are and they're like, huh, it's okay to be honest.
Mhm. I say to people usually, I say, even if my, let's say, I tell them something and I say, maybe I'm not right, but just to know that I'm genuine with you, that is what I have at the moment. Maybe I'm wrong, but just to know that if I'm wrong, I'm coming to you. I say, you remember, maybe you have forgotten that one, what I've told you, but I'll come to you after a certain time and say, when I told this one, I thought it was true, but it's not. It's not like
Yeah.
that.
But can we count those as lies? Because like
I mean, it's like, hmm,
I think a lie is an intentional
yeah,
thing, right? So if you're coming back and you're saying, "Hey, I was wrong about that," so hey, here's the facts that I now found out. It wasn't that you lied? It was that you used the knowledge that you had at the time to make the
right.
best decision that you could.
Yeah, I try to make it a bit smooth.
Yeah,
I try to make it a bit more not so painful.
yeah, yeah.
But what can you say for a liar that for him is normal? It's normal.
That's fun.
he will tell the lie that is true with one condition. Maybe he can get something else in return.
Yeah.
Anyway, uh, so this is one of the. By the way, do you think what will be, according to you, what will be the difference in the world if everybody will be honest with themselves, genuine with themselves, and also with other people? What do you think will be the, I'll say, like a
Whew.
kind of revolution or
I
something will happen to the world?
Well, I mean, there'd be a lot more trust because everybody would be honest.
Hmm.
I would love to say, I want to say that the world would become a better place.
Hmm.
However, there are still not nice people out there who pretend that they are. Meanwhile, inside, they're bigots, they're racist, they're sexist, they're whatever. So if they were honestly who they are on the outside, they may not be, they're not good people. So now you know they're, I mean, it's good that you would know that they're not good people, but I mean, I don't know, maybe they're walking down the grocery store just yelling at people because now they're so honest with everyone. But I do think that honesty is the best policy. Like,
All right, you're going
it's
to
too
be
hard to
philosophers
lie.
now. Okay, so if you will put, let's say, a grade, okay, to measure, if we have a grade to measure the honesty, people are more honest now or they have been years ago?
Ooh, that's hard to know. Um, I think people are more vocal now. I don't know if they're being honest when they're being vocal. I hope so. I hope that people aren't just pretending to have these things that they're talking about. Like, I hope people aren't pretending to have mental health or disability or whatever just to talk about it. But yeah, I don't know if people are more honest, but they're definitely more vocal.
Okay, and the last question about genuinity now. So, what what will you say to somebody who doesn't tell the truth in one sense, and he always hides his feelings or whatever? What will be, let's say, something that will help him himself first?
I
Uh,
think the first thing, journal, because maybe he's not being honest because he's not okay with who he is yet. And so journaling can often uncover a lot of your deep, dark secrets that you didn't even realize were there, or like issues that are boiling under the surface that, again, you might not even realize are issues. So journaling is a really good one. That's what a lot of therapists actually start with, is journaling out your feelings and kind of figuring out where that leads. Um, because I think that people lie for a reason. It doesn't mean that it's a good reason, but they're lying for a reason, whether it's to spare somebody's feelings or to make themselves look better.
mhm.
There's a there's a reason behind it, and so if you can uncover that reason, you can um, work on it and then not lie anymore.
Okay. So, what is the message that you want to bring in the world, especially to your writers, with your books?
So the biggest message, and the reason that I write about mental health so much, and even autism, because that's not a mental health, it's a disability.
Mhm.
But the biggest thing is, be who you are and don't apologize for who you are. Now, hopefully, I'm saying that and people aren't just mean people, because if you're just a plain mean person, well, change your ways. Um, but really, for the most part, like, accept yourself, accept your quirks, understand that not everybody is going to like you, and that's fine. And just be the best you that you can be. Follow your dreams. Just try. We're only here for one life, so we might as well, you know, try to follow what really makes us happy.
Okay. So, what is the best compliment? This is what I ask all the authors. So, what is the best compliment you got up to now?
Um, the best compliment, somebody said that when they read my book called A Mother's Truth, they cried.
Mhm.
And I was like, I hope it was crying of happy tears, not because you hated it. And she said it was. It was her happy tears because she felt not so alone anymore. Because she could see so many similarities between her kid and my kid. And so it felt like somebody understood her. And I'm like, oh, that is so sweet. I love it. So yeah, definitely that was the best compliment.
Do you think that we as people are saying that we're keeping, let's say, something, our pain hidden, and that makes us worse and worse?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because just think of like when you say you have this hole. Okay. So this is our emotion or our hiding spot. Okay. We have this hole and it's a hiding spot. And we throw in some dirt because we want to hide our anger at somebody. You don't want to tell them that you're angry. So you put some dirt in. And then somebody else makes you upset. So you throw some more dirt in this hole and stuff like that keeps happening. You just keep filling up this hole. Eventually the hole is going to be overflowing. And what's going to happen? If you think about a dirt mound, every time, or like a sand pile, every time you put more sand on the top, it trickles down because there's nowhere else for it to go. So if you keep hiding your emotions, eventually they're going to trickle out. And usually they're going to trickle out in a way where you're yelling at people, where you're short tempered, things like that. So yeah, the more you hide your feelings, the worse that you actually are. You gotta work on them. You gotta express them. It's better to express them as you're feeling them than to let them simmer and boil and then just pop.
But I don't think you stop just on that. Okay, just express what you feel at the moment, and then that's all.
Oh,
You express it.
okay. So express what you're feeling in the moment so that you're not just piling it up, and then eventually you'll pop. And usually when that pop occurs, it's occurring with somebody that you're not actually mad at. It could be that you get so angry at work. And I'm not saying yell at your boss because I mean, don't get fired. But you can there's other things that you can do. You can talk to them and say, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking at work," or whatever, or even vent to a friend. But a lot of times you hold on to it, you come home and then you explode at your husband or wife, you explode at your kids, and they're like, "Whoa, I just said hello. What's going on?"
Okay, so what else do you want to say today? Tomorrow, maybe you'll change your mind. We're not sure about that, but for today.
Exactly. I want to say go buy my books, obviously. But I just want to say to everybody, follow what you're passionate about. And I've said it so many times because this is kind of my message to the world is be you and be unapologetically you. As well, I have a YouTube channel where I talk all about that stuff with other authors too. We talk about mental health because obviously it's my jam if you couldn't tell. So that's called the Write or Die Show. And TikTok, you got to come join me on TikTok. I have so much fun there. My animals have their own TikTok. So if you're into cute animals, yeah.
So all of these you will send it to me so I can write so the audience can follow you and can find your
Of
books and
course.
all the rest.
Of course.
So I would like to say thank you very much for your time and for your genuinity and for everything that you shared with us. And we hope to see you again in our show.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. And I would, of course, love to come back. I have so much stuff to say.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much.